You want to hear something sad? No? Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. Not everyone gets to experience something that I like to call a life-changing dumpling moment. Yeah, we're going to change that today. So dumplings, there's a right way and a wrong way to approach them. And I'm not talking about the takeout gyoza where you get like, dipping sauce. That would be like a pan-fried dumpling essentially. Nothing wrong with those, totally respect them. But one of my favorite ways to eat dumplings, just a typical steamed dumpling with chili oil and a dipping sauce, or both. Usually both. We're not messing around here, okay? We're making our own dough, we're wrapping them, we're steaming them ourselves. There's nothing better than getting a nice hot steamed dumpling, dip that in sauce and it's dripping with chili oil, and it's like, I gotta stop elaborating like that because whenever I do, my mouth starts to water and then I can feel like drool pooling at the front of my mouth and I feel like I'm just spitting everywhere. On that note, let's make this, shall we?
Right, so like I said, we're making our own dough. So let's do that first so it has time to rest. Start off by measuring 3 cups or 400 grams of all-purpose flour in a large bowl. Whisk in 1 teaspoon or 7 grams of fine sea salt until evenly incorporated. Now add 3/4 of a cup or 216 grams of boiling water. Yes, the hot stuff. Mix that with a wooden spoon until you get a rough dough, then begin kneading it until it comes together. Now remember, I have restaurant asbestos hands, so please be careful not to burn yourself. It should be cool enough to handle once you've added to the flour and mixed it a little bit, but just be careful. You may need to add a little more water, about a tablespoon at a time, and then once it forms a dough, continue kneading it for 5 minutes until smooth.
Remember that masterclass commercial where it's like, this is the passport to great Italian dishes? Yeah, well, now this is the passport to great Chinese dumplings. Think about it.
Now once that dough is nice and smooth, go ahead and shape it into a thick, with 2 C's, disc, and wrap it in plastic wrap and rest it at room temperature for 1 hour. Now while that's resting, we can make our fillings. So first you're gonna slice and rough chop a 1/4 head of Napa cabbage, but before you do that, take off about 5 or 6 of the outer leaves and reserve them. You're gonna need those later. Top secret information, you'll find out. But yeah, go ahead and chop up that 1/4 head, then place that in a bowl and season it pretty generously with salt, not too much. It shouldn't be too salty when you taste it. And squeeze the crap out of it so it softens up and bruises up. It should release a good amount of liquid. Drain off half that liquid, then add 1 bunch of thinly sliced green onions, 1 pound of ground pork, at least 20% fat. The higher the fat that ground pork is, the better. Think about it like this: the fattier, the juicier the dumpling. It's a good thing. Don't be scared. Then you're gonna add 3 cloves of freshly grated garlic, a 2-inch or 5-centimeter piece of peeled and grated ginger, 1 tablespoon or 14 grams of soy sauce, and 1.5 teaspoons or 8 grams of kosher salt. Mix all that together until evenly incorporated, then wrap that up and let it sit in the fridge until you're ready to go. You can do this up to 2 days ahead of time, so keep that in mind. Sometimes a little marinating is good. Okay, we're almost there. Now we just need to sheet our dough. So first cut your dough into 4 even pieces, quartered. Now you can sheet this 2 different ways. The first way is you can use a rolling pin the old-fashioned way and then roll it into a sheet about 1/8 of an inch thick. That works and all, but I figured out a better way to do this. The combination of 2 totally separate cultures. A pasta sheeter. It works nearly flawlessly at getting the dough as thin and even as you need it. Plus it cuts production time down and overall just makes life easier, so The link for this will be in the description. So to use this, take 1 of your quarters of dough. Oh, wait, by the way, actually cover your unused dough up with a damp towel or overturned bowl so it doesn't dry out while we're doing this. That'd be real sad, wouldn't it? Anyway, take that 1/4 of a dough, then flatten it out into a rough rectangle about 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter thick, then run it through your pasta roller at the thickest setting. Dust it lightly with flour and run it through 1 notch thinner. Dust it again and run it through another notch thinner until you get to the setting number 6, or until the dough is so thin that you can see your hands through it. Yes, very thin. It shouldn't break though. It should have some good strength to it. Just make sure to handle the dough gently like I am here. Don't tear it. Then cut that long sheet into thirds just to make it a little more manageable. Now just use a 3.5 inch or 9 centimeter circular cutter or, biscuit cutter to cut out circles of the dough. Now you can wad up that scrap dough and reuse it. Just make sure that you rest it first. I know people are going to ask about the leftover dough that's left behind. You can still use it. So now we can shape our dumplings. It's time. First thing is we're going to need to add some filling to all the centers of the wrappers we have here. I kind of like to shape the meat into sort of like an egg shape just so it fills the dumpling more evenly when it gets shaped. Now this takes some practice. First, you're going to take your meat-filled wrapper, lightly brush some water around the edge of the dumpling just to help with sealing, Then fold it like a taco, but only adhere the center point of the taco shape. Leave 2 totally open ends. It's very, very important. We're only going to pleat one side of this taco. Now let's go ahead and start from the left of the center point. All right, we're gonna slow this clip down. Now use your index fingers to help you fold the top portion of the dumpling dough towards the center fold. Pinch that down. Repeat this process, working away from the center seam until you have 3 evenly spaced pleats. And then just go ahead and seal that side. So now you've pleated the left side of the dumpling. Now you just need to repeat the process on the other side. One point I wanna make though is, you know you're doing this correctly when one side of this is completely smooth and then the other side is totally pleated. That's pretty much the gist of it, and that's what you're gonna do. Like I said, this is gonna take some practice. You're not gonna get it perfect the first time, but I guarantee you that towards the end of this, you're gonna be pretty darn good at it. Then just repeat this with all of your dumplings, placing the finished ones on a sheet tray generously dusted with flour. I recommend only working with 1/4 of the dough each time that you do this, just so your dough doesn't dry out after sheeting. Whatever you do, don't let your dough dry out. So just keep that in mind. This process is great to do with a group of people because it's fun, plus it also makes it go by even faster when you have more than one person doing it. Also, quick shout out to my friend and pastry chef at the restaurant that I work at, Ariana. Huge thank you to her for helping me with the shaping technique here, seriously. Anyway, so fast forward, you got all your dumplings made and they're ready for steaming. Now all you need to do is line a bamboo steamer with cabbage leaves. See, and those of you who saved your cabbage leaves will now be rewarded. Then get a pot that your steamer fits snugly over, fill that pot up with water about 1/4 of the way up, bring it to a boil, place as many dumplings as possible in your steamer basket without them touching, cover and place on top of your pot and steam them for 7 to 10 minutes or until fully cooked. Now for the record, the cabbage leaves are important because they keep your dumplings from sticking to the steamer basket. Also, I'd recommend getting more than one basket just so you can stack them and steam lots at once. Once cooked, just eat and enjoy with my chili oil recipe, which will be linked in the description, shameless plug. Now if you want a dipping sauce, then you can just use straight up black vinegar, which I really like, or you can make this dumpling sauce by mixing 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of granulated sugar with 1 tablespoon or 12 milliliters of hot water, dissolve that. Then add 3 tablespoons or 44 milliliters of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon or 12 milliliters of rice vinegar, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of sesame oil, 1 clove of garlic minced, and half of a green onion thinly sliced. Stir and you have dumpling sauce, perfect to accompany dumplings. But you know what else pairs well with dumplings? B-roll.
Guys, and that is it. So homemade dumplings, you know, surprisingly easy. Honestly, one of my favorite parts is the actual process of wrapping and shaping the dumplings. I know that sounds weird, but it's oddly therapeutic. I mean, I could do that for hours at a time, and it just develops your motor skills with your hands. It's a good thing all over. Just dumplings do a bunch of beautiful things for the human body. It tastes good, it's good for your motor skills, it makes you happy. I mean, what more do you want? And I'm not, okay, I'm talking to myself at this point. I'm literally, there's nobody in here, except for me. I'm in here, me here. Hello and welcome to another 7 minutes of me going insane. If you have a group of friends coming over to cook with you, make dumplings. Everyone can participate, it makes it go by so much faster, and it's a ton of fun, you know? Crack a few cold ones with the boys. And thank you guys for suggesting this video along with many, many others. Get lots of DMs about it on Instagram, which by the way, if you don't follow me, the link below for my Instagram, my Twitter and all that, be sure to follow me if you don't already. But with all that said, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you. Hang on, wait, let me try that again. And I will see you next time. Isn't that great? Isn't that great just closing the cabinet? Ow. God damn it.